Hello and welcome to Shelby TV's brand new show, CinCin. I'm your host, Katie Shimatero, and in today's episode, we're talking all about Michigan wine. I'm here with sommelier Ted Ross. Thanks for joining us today, Ted.
Thank you for having me, Katie. Pleasure.
CinCin.
CinCin.
So tell our viewers, what is so special about Michigan wine?
Michigan is a wonderful place for fine wine production, and we're really hoping to illustrate that in our episode today. I think the most important thing to talk about, first and foremost, is Michigan's unique geography and climate, and how it relates to fine wine production. If you look on a map of our globe, you'll notice that all of the world's fine wine production occurs in very specific places, both in the north and south hemisphere, between 30 degrees and 50 degrees latitude. And the reason for that is because you have a balance between the extreme cold temperatures of the North and South Pole and the extreme warm temperatures and dry conditions of the equator. So being in this special part of the globe that we are fortunate to have a temperate growing season, which grapes require. We have a moderate summer, and we have a moderate fall where the grapes aren't going to freeze too early on the vines. Talking about Michigan specifically, most of our fine wine production happens within 20 miles or so of Lake Michigan on the west side of our state. And you'll notice if you look at a map of our state, all of the wineries seem to buckle the coast and stay within about those 20 to 30 miles from the lake. And the reason that is because of lake effect conditions that Lake Michigan provides. Lake Michigan helps lengthen our growing season, and it helps protect our vines from our extremely harsh winters that we have here in Michigan by promoting more snowfall than the other parts of the state may see. And that was extremely important, especially with our last winter that we experienced. So, Michigan is a very, very special place. We have well over 100 wineries now in this state. We are winning international awards for many different varietals of vinifera and hybrids as well, and we'll get into those a little bit more later.
Where are some of the best vineyards in Michigan?
Michigan is divided into four specific regions for fine wine production. We refer to these regions as AVAs, short for American Viticultural Areas. We have the Old Mission Peninsula AVA, and we have the Leelanau Peninsula AVA, which are located near Traverse City. I'm sure a lot of our viewers have traveled to and done the wine trail up there. And then we also have two smaller AVAs that do a little bit less than half of our total grape production in the state. That would be the Lake Michigan Shore and the Fenville AVA down in the southwest corner of the state.
Are there better regions where maybe white wines are produced than red wines, or are they kind of all produced in the same temperature, same area?
Well, when we're talking specifically Michigan AVAs, I think the major difference between the southwest and the northwest are a few degrees of temperature throughout the summer that the southwest benefits from. So I've seen some grape varietals that are notorious for needing warmer weather and longer growing seasons to ripen, doing quite well in the southwest of Michigan. Syrah being one of them, and Sauvignon Blanc being the other. I was at the winery Fen Valley fairly recently, and really impressed with some Sauvignon Blanc that they had ripened and harvested and vinified right at their estate, and that's pretty cutting edge for what people normally associate with Michigan. So we're definitely on the onward and upward.
Now, what specific types of grapes tend to do well in Michigan's climate?
Well, Michigan is known for cool climate aromatic varietals. We're talking Riesling, we're talking Gewürztraminer. We do Chardonnay fairly well in the state. I've seen some great examples of that, and this is all illustrated by the 45th parallel and the latitude that we talked about. If you look at the indigenous regions of these grape varietals, they are lined up perfectly with Michigan. We're talking south central France, central to northern Italy, and then Germany as well. So that's where these varietals really thrive. Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio being one of them specifically. I might need to mention that those are not the, no, I don't like that. I get the question frequently about Pinot Gris versus Pinot Grigio. What's the difference? Well, genetically there is no difference. They're the same grape varietal. In Michigan, vintners tend to use the terms to describe the style of wine that they want to produce. Pinot Gris being a more northern French style of the grape varietal, where you're going to get more intense acidity and crispness. Pinot Grigio being the Italian counterpart, where it's going to give you more of a floral, softer, nice, just a very consumable style of white wine. So they are the same grape varietal, just really up to the vintner how they want to describe it. As for reds, we are known for Cabernet Franc. We're known for Pinot Noir. I've seen some examples of Merlot, and like I mentioned, Syrah earlier, down especially in the southwestern part of our state. And we also are on the forefront of working with some really cool hybrid grapes, which are basically botanical crosses between European vinifera that we've just discussed and Native American varietals that might have a little more success with our climate. So if you take the good attributes from both of those species of grapes, we've got our hybrids. So you're talking Vignoles, Maréchal Foch, Chambourcin are just a few out of a big gamut that Michigan vintners are working with. So providing a really, really versatile and a diverse style of wines. We're making dry wines, sweet wines, sparkling wines, fortified wines, ice wines, you name it. Michigan's doing it all. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a great place to be.
Has Michigan always had this big of a wine production, or is this something that's come in the last decade or so? It's gotten bigger.
I want to say, at least from a retailer's point of view, the Michigan wine trade has really, really increased in the last 10 years. Really, the 1975 was the turning point when Chateau Grand Traverse planted Riesling in Northwest Michigan, and the ball's been rolling ever since. Within the last 10 years, the acreage planted to grape varietals in Michigan has doubled. So that's something to be said. We have a very healthy industry that is growing. Like I mentioned, we're over 100 wineries now. The wine industry is contributing almost $500 million into our local economy. So it's an important and viable part of our state.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I hear you mention Riesling quite often. Is Michigan most known for Riesling? Is that one of its biggest?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to assign one varietal to such a diverse growing region, but
yes.
But yeah, I mean, on an international stage, we're really getting recognition for our Rieslings, I think, more than other varietals. Although we're winning awards in all sorts of categories, Cabernet Franc and Pinot Noir are continuing to improve every year, and I think that's partly due to the fact that the vines are getting older in these vineyards and producing more complex, healthier fruit, and the winemakers in our state are starting to learn the nuances and working with the grapes better as well. So there are a lot of good things happening here.
Wonderful. Let's talk about some of the wine we have here today in our glasses. Is this one of the wines up here?
Yes, we are drinking Shady Lane Cabernet Franc. So Shady Lane is located on the Leelanau Peninsula. They are the second winery outside. If you were heading out of Traverse City, heading into the Leelanau Peninsula, which is the westernmost peninsula, Shady Lane would be the second winery that you would run into, and this is their Cabernet Franc. So Shady Lane, not only Shady Lane, but most Northwestern wine producers are really focusing on red wine production and getting very good at it.
Wonderful. What is this like? What are the tastes to this type of wine? Is it a smokier? Is it dry? Is it? So
Cabernet Franc is an old French varietal, and it's actually the genetic parent of Cabernet Sauvignon that lots of my customers ask for every day. Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc were brought together to create Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Franc really likes our climate, and it likes cooler climates. It doesn't need a terribly long growing season. It generally produces medium-bodied red wines. They can be kind of spicy. They're generally accented with French or American oak, and they tend to be extremely elegant and very food-friendly styles of red wine.
So let's talk about some of the wines we have on display here today.
Sure. This is just a small selection of the selection we have at Vincent Joe's, but a couple of our more prominent producers. We've got Northwestern producers here: Chateau Grand Traverse, Shady Lane, Peninsula Cellars, and Two Lads. Peninsula Cellars and Two Lads hail from the Old Mission Peninsula and are really fantastic vintners. We've also got some Fen Valley products from the Fenville AVA down in the southwest of the state. So Fen Valley, as I mentioned, is doing some varietals that are generally more associated with warmer climates, and I found those to be very interesting.
Wonderful. Are these all big sellers here?
They are. Our Michigan wine trade continues to grow every year, and the consumers that are buying them are getting more adventurous as well as they become more comfortable asking for different varietals out of our region. So it's not just about late harvest Riesling anymore. People are asking for reds. They're asking for sparkling wines. The ice wines continue to be extremely popular, especially as the holiday months come. So it's a really fun region to promote, and business couldn't be better.
We've just heard quite a lot about Michigan wine and its production. When we return, we'll be with Adam Satchwell, a winemaker from Shady Lane Cellars, who will tell us all about his wine.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Steinhurst. My husband and I are owners of Steiny's Tavern. We're located on the northwest corner of 25 Mile and Shelby Road. We offer a unique dining experience from our restaurant to our off-site catering. Everything we make is from scratch. We utilize Michigan-made products whenever possible. We're open 7 days a week. We offer daily lunch and dinner specials, and we carry the most craft beers on draft in all of Macomb County. So plan on coming out to Steiny's Tavern, where you come for the food and stay for the party.
Hello and welcome back to CinCin. I'm your host, Katie Shimatero, and we're here with Adam Satchwell, a winemaker from Shady Lane Cellars. Thanks for joining us today, Adam.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Go ahead and tell us just generally about Shady Lane Cellars.
Okay, we are on the Leelanau Peninsula, just north of Traverse City. We're about 8 miles north of Traverse City and right off of the west arm of Grand Traverse Bay. We've been in existence. First plantings of our vineyard were done in 1989. Been making wine for quite a while and have been growing ever since, and we're currently at about 5,000 cases production. Have a wonderful tasting room for people to come up and visit us, and it's a great property, part of a beautiful up north experience.
Wonderful. Earlier, Ted was telling us a little bit about the geography and what areas and regions produce great wine. Why does your vineyard produce great wine?
Well, there are 4 things that I look at and like to talk about when talking about why our wines do so well. 3 of them are about climate and 1's about the soil. And I think what this does is really illustrate why we not only have a good climate, but in my opinion, a superior climate for the varieties that we do. The 3 things about the climate itself, we've got what's called heat accumulation, growing degree days, and that just is a measurement you assign a number to of how much heat you get during the year. And I started measuring it from the day our growing season started to the day we picked. And I did this for 5 years and found that our growing degree days, that our heat accumulation, was the same as the southern part of Napa Valley, Carneros region. So it's warmer than people think during the growing season. There's another thing called the diurnal temperature, which is if you've got a high temperature of 80 degrees in the day and 50 low at night, your diurnal is 30. We have a very big diurnal. Quite often it's 25, 30 degrees. And what that does is during the day it gives us the warmth to ripen and develop all the flavors. But in those cool overnight temperatures, it preserves all of the wonderful compounds, terpenes, the acidity, all these great things that give these great aromatics and the structure and the balance to the wine. If you ask people what's important about growing anything and they tell you daylight doesn't matter, stop the conversation, because daylight really does matter when you're growing things.
Yeah.
And in July, we get an hour of sunlight a day more than Napa Valley.
Wow.
So those three things about the climate and the growing season really, really illustrate why I think we've got such a great spot. The other thing, in the soil, when the glaciers came through, it's all granite bedrock, ground it all up, and what we've got for soil in a lot of the areas is decomposing granite. And if you go around the world and talk to wine growers and winemakers, and you say, what do you like? They go, oh, decomposing granite, it's great. So we've got one of the best soil types, which really helps us develop flavors and nuance in our wines also.
Wow, wonderful. You guys produce quite a few wines every year. What are some of your best sellers?
Well, we certainly do well with the Riesling. The region is known for Riesling, and I do 3 Rieslings every year, sometimes 4. So that's always, a popular item. Our semi-dry Riesling, we sell a lot of around the state. We've won more awards for that, nationally and internationally, so that's certainly a big item. But we also do a dry Riesling and a sparkling Riesling, and in some years a dessert-style late harvest Riesling.
Ooh, Riesling's my favorite, so I understand that.
Yeah.
I also understand that you guys have recently, well, you've won quite a few awards for your wines, but talk about one of the most recent awards that you've won.
This year there were 2 competitions in particular that we did quite well with, and I think really demonstrates what I've been working on at Shady Lane Cellars, and that's red wine production. Because people don't often associate red wine with Michigan, but it's happening. People should start associating with it. There's a large international wine competition out in California, the Riverside International Wine Competition. There are wines from France, Italy, Spain, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Chile, Argentina, all over California, all over the United States. And 2 of my red wines won the top awards given in this competition of best of class. My Blue Franc, which is made from Blaufränkisch, and a red blend that I do called Frankenfranc. So they beat out red wines in those categories from around the world, and there were over 2,000 wines entered into this competition. Then there was the San Francisco International Wine Competition. Same thing. We won some really top awards, got 95 points for my dry Riesling. So, we're getting a lot of notoriety, a lot of attention for the wines that we're producing, but I'm really happy to see it for the red wines in particular, because they're a big part of my overall program.
Wonderful. Well, I'm definitely going to have to taste one of these award-winning wines.
Yes, good. We can do that.
All right.
Which I will open up a bottle of the Blue Franc, one of the ones that just won the best of class.
Wonderful.
And be able to talk about some of the, the special attributes that we see in wines up there. And Ted, I know, touched upon cool climate winemaking.
Yes.
And to me, what that really is all about is this fresh, juicy, lively fruit expression, and a certain elegance that we get at the same time. And I think this Blue Franc is just a great example where you get this just gorgeous fruit. So I get this bottle open here.
Yeah.
And this wonderful overlay of spice and just these great things just, happening all over, and, in the aromas and in your mouth, and just make it a real exciting glass of wine to try. So pour you a little bit here.
For people that maybe aren't big on wine, maybe don't drink wine quite often, is this an easy wine to start off with?
Yeah, if you're looking for red, the nice thing about Blue Franc is there's a lot going on, and it has what we call structure, tannins and all these different things going on, but it's fairly soft at the same time, so it's really approachable with all this wonderful fruit to it. It's hard not to like.
Yeah. So. Excellent. Well, CinCin.
CinCin.
I get all the fruit flavors. It's very good.
Right, you get
excellent.
This wonderful, really juicy blueberry, mulberry fruit, and this black pepper spice, and just a lot of fun things going on.
Now, you have such a variety of wines here. What do these pair well with, or why are these so good on the table?
Well, some of those things I talked about with the growing season, and then what results in the wine is what makes these wines just shine and blossom when you put them on the table. When you want a really great dining experience you want the food to taste better, you want the wine to taste better, and you just want to remember that meal forever. Wines such as these, because of the way they're made up, just I think perform well at the table.
We just learned about the variety of wines Shady Lane Cellars has to offer. All these wines can be purchased right here in store at Vincent Joe's. When we return, Ted Ross will be joining us to talk about pairing wine and cheeses.
Hi, this is Dr. Antelek at The Gentle Dentist. If you or a loved one has had a bad experience at the dentist, then we can help you. We articulate this best with our mission statement, which is, we use our God-given talents and abilities to serve all with Christ-like compassion by listening to their needs first and then delivering uncompromised care with respect and integrity. So if your smile isn't becoming to you, then you should be coming to us.
Come enjoy some pizza pie at American Pie Pizza Buffet. Dig into an all-you-can-eat pizza, salad, and dessert buffet. Pick from over 30 different specialty pizzas, including the famous barbecue chicken and BLT. This family-friendly establishment is the perfect place to host a party or fundraiser, challenge a friend to a game, and now at American Pie, we are serving a wide selection of beer and wine. Dine in or purchase your favorite pizza to go. You can't miss out on our exceptionally low price. Located at the southwest corner of 22 and Shaner. American Pie.
Experience it.
Welcome back to CinCin. I'm your host, Katie Shimatero, and I'm here once again with sommelier Ted Ross, who's going to tell us specifically how Shady Lane wines pair well with cheeses.
Thank you, Katie. And they do pair extremely well with cheeses. We picked a few from our wide variety that we offer here at Vincent Joe's to really showcase some of the flavors of these great wines. Let's start with maybe the most neutral and least intense flavor profile of the cheeses. We're going to go with the Affinois. This is double cream brie from France. Ooh. So we're talking really creamy, really rich, lots of fat, all the good stuff in there. And this needs high acidity, crisp wine. I like sparkling wine. In Shady Lane's case, the sparkling Riesling works great. Riesling is naturally very high in acidity, and all that acidity washes away that fat as you eat this cheese and keeps everything kind of snappy and refreshing and tastes great. So next one down the line, I would probably go with the Comtois, which is one of my favorite cheeses. I think it's very versatile and goes with a wide variety of styles of wines. With the selections we have today, I love Shady Lane's Pinot Noir. I think the intensity of flavors is balanced very well. They both have a rustic but very refined and very elegant quality to them, and taste great together. This is something that you sit on the couch and watch a movie and hammer away at with really not being concerned about anything else. They're just great pairings. This mango and ginger Stilton is a very cool cheese that we chose to go with, specifically Adam's semi-dry Riesling, and it also works really well with their Gewürztraminer. Both varietals are very aromatic. The Gewürztraminer has this really floral, peppery spice box kind of characteristic to it, which is really enhanced by the aromatics of the mango and the ginger, and then the semi-sweet characteristic of the wine works great with the sharpness of the Stilton. So that's one of my favorite combos as well. Really rich, but very consumable. And then when we get into some of the bigger wines and the bigger cheeses, we're talking extra sharp cheddar to go with the Cab Franc, the Blue Franc, those kinds of wines as well. You could also use Manchego. You could use Parmigiano Reggiano. Big flavors with big flavors is really a good rule of thumb. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you find that people come in asking you what cheeses go well with wines a lot? Do people really want to pair those quite often? They do, and it's one of my favorite parts of my job is walking people through not just cheese, but a menu accompanied by
by great wines, because there's no other way to accentuate a great meal than with great beverages.
Today we've talked a lot about Michigan wine. What can a customer expect to pay for a great Michigan wine?
Well, I think consumers will be extremely pleased when they check the shelf out and look at the prices on these wines. They're very competitively priced with other major and prominent wine growing regions around the globe. Our world-class reds, most of them can be had well under $25. Wow. So you're talking terrific values. And you know, obviously there's some special bottlings from certain vintners where maybe more oak regimen is seen, more bottle age, and those all contribute to costs. But there's some tremendous values to be had here in the state. Our whites, the Rieslings, the Gewürzes, the sparkling wine, you're talking $15 on the shelf. They're terrific value.
Nice.
They're terrific values, yeah.
Well, this has all been some great information today, Ted. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to tell your customers in closing?
First and foremost, I'd say promote Michigan wine. I mean, this is our state. This is healthy for our state. This is good. We are producing world-class wines. My hope is that consumers, especially here at Vincent Joe's, my consumers keep an open mind and, you know, respect the region really for what it's known to do. You know, don't judge a fish for how well it can climb a tree. You know, when you realize what Michigan can do, you'll realize that we are doing some of the best wines in the world.
So next time you're buying wine, don't be afraid to try all the varieties of wine Michigan has to offer. On behalf of the entire Vincent Joe staff, Ted Ross and Adam Satchwell, I'm your host, Katie Shimatero. Until next time, CinCin.